What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another adventure here at the Outpost. In today's adventure, we are going to be doing exactly what we did in the last adventure, except instead of hitting my favorite genre, the Western, we are going to look at one of my other favorite genres, and that is the war film. War! Good God, y'all, what is it good for? War movies, that's what it's good for. Now, even though I do love Westerns more than I love war movies, I do seem to have a shitload of more war movies than I do Westerns. I'm going to have to rectify that. But for that instance, in this video, we're going to try and go as quickly as possible throughout all these movies and try not to delve too long on each one. I know I said that in the last video, and I ended up biting off more than I can chew by talking for 45 minutes, but we'll try not to do that tonight. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it and let's just start going right along. And we're going to start with an old school war movie, and that is A Bridge Too Far. This is a really good war movie. This has got a shitload of people in it. We're going to quickly look over that. You got James Caan, Michael Caine, Anthony Hopkins, Sean Connery, Gene Hackman, Laurence Olivier, Robert Redford. There's a shitload of people in this movie. This is a really good World War II movie. You should definitely check this one out. I enjoyed that one a lot. Air America takes place during Vietnam. It's got Mel Gibson, Robert Downey Jr., early 90s movie. This movie's pretty terrible. I watched it once, never watch it again. The Alamo. I forgot this for the Western one, but I did not forget it for this one. It is rocking in the war section. This is a solid movie. I remember a lot of people hated on this when it first came out, but I don't think it's necessarily as bad as people say. Dennis Quaid and Billy Bob Thornton especially are pretty dope in it. Jason Patrick, Patrick Wilson. Wow, the way those two tie together with each other is a tongue teaser and a half. Jason Patrick, Patrick Wilson. Jason Patrick, Patrick Wilson. That's got to be fun. This is a solid movie. I like it. I like it. We've from an okay one to a pretty terrible one. That is Alexander, the director's cut. The director's cut is 167 minutes, which is odd because I thought that's what the regular version was. This movie, pretty terrible. They gave us extra credit in school if we went and saw that movie and brought the ticket stub. And I was like, hell yeah, fuck that. Free move, like easy extra credit to go watch a movie? Hell yeah. I didn't know what I was getting into. Apocalypse Now. Redo, I think is the French pronunciation. This is the 202-minute version of this movie. Hot take, I know people aren't going to like it. I don't really like this movie. I think it's alright. I don't know if it's just because I only saw the redo version, which is 202 minutes, and there are better versions out there to watch. I feel like I gotta give one of the director's cut or one of the shorter versions a shot, because like there's parts of this movie that I like, but for the most part as a whole, I was just like, that movie was way too fucking long. I didn't even really like that. So I'm going to have to give that one a rewatch maybe, and I'll hear the furious people somewhere around there. Somebody was shitting on me in the last one and then deleted his comments because I was shitting on Al Pacino, and I guess he thought better and he deleted his comments, so I never really got to see exactly what he said. Coward, so write it back in there. I want to see it. So we'll see if anybody says anything about Apocalypse Now. We've got The Big Red One. Never seen it, but picked it up because it was only $3.99. It was a cool little war movie, and it's got pre-Star Wars Mark Hamill in there. So definitely gonna watch that at some point. One of the best war movies, one of my favorites, is Black Hawk Down. I couldn't watch this movie for a long time because one of my dumbass friends would talk about this movie nonstop to the point that I would never want to put it on. We went on a trip together to Virginia for an amusement park, and the entire 7-hour drive he just kept talking about Black Hawk Down. And we get to the hotel and we all chill out and we turn the TV on, and what should be starting? Then Black Hawk fucking Down. But to put that aside, this movie is really freaking good. Every 2000s actor is in this movie, and it's a really good fucking war movie. You should check it out if you haven't. Taking us to the Sierra Leone Civil War is Blood Diamond. Leonardo DiCaprio, Yaman Hunso, Jennifer Connelly. This is a really good movie. I actually haven't seen this movie in a while, probably since like it first came out. So I'm definitely gonna have to give this one a rewatch again because that is definitely an underrated Leo performance, and I love me some Yaman Hunso, and anytime I can catch him in a big role, I'm always for it. I was very disappointed in A Quiet Place Part 2 because he's in it for like 5 seconds. Born on the 4th of July, Tom Cruise, Oliver Stone, classic. What else can you ask for? This is a really good Tom Cruise performance. This is back when Tom Cruise was cutting his teeth and doing some very serious movies from time to time. Now he's mostly just the action hero that we all want him to be, but he puts in a really good performance in that movie. Bridge on the River Kwai. I've always wanted to watch this movie. I've just never gotten around to it. I definitely do want to get to it very soon, though. It's got Alec Guinness, William Holden. It looks just like really sick, and it won 7 Academy Awards, so it's got to be fucking bitchin'. I'll get there. Another one I haven't seen, old school war movies, Cast a Giant Shadow, Kirk Douglas. Definitely going to have to get around to this one at some point. This is a World War II movie. Looks pretty dope. One of my favorite war movies, Civil War movie, Cold Mountain. This movie is fucking incredible. Everyone in this is amazing. Jude Law, Nicole Kidman, Renee Zellweger. A White Stripes appearance by Jack White in this movie at some point. This movie is incredible. They showed it to us in school, and I was fucking hooked on that movie. Wolfgang Peterson, Das Boot, the director's cut. This is another movie I've always wanted to watch. I've just never gotten around to it because it's fucking 209 minutes, and I don't know, you just really got to get yourself into the mood when you see a movie that's 209 minutes. Like, you really just got to fucking prepare yourself, and I have yet to be so prepared for that movie. A long movie that I have watched, though, that was really good. We actually watched it in high school. The Deer Hunter is a very good Vietnam movie. The end of this movie is absolutely bananas with the Russian roulette. This is just a freaking incredible movie. I love this. It's insane that Michael Cimino, however you want to pronounce it, went from this to then Heaven's Gate. Just like two completely polar opposites. A neat little war movie. I don't know what fucking war this is, but I know it's a war movie. I'm trying to look back on here quickly, but I can't. It looks like it. I think it might be World War II. Defiance with Daniel Craig, Lee Schreiber, Jamie Bell. This is a solid war movie. Edward Zwick directed. That man, powerhouse director. Directed one of my favorite movies in Last Samurai. This movie is really good. I remember seeing it in theaters and liked it a lot. I haven't seen it in a while, so that one's probably due for a rewatch also. Oh, one of the best war movies around, The Dirty Dozen. This is a freaking great World War II movie about a squad of misfits that are sent on a suicide mission against Nazis. It's got a great cast: Charles Bronson, Donald Sutherland, John Cassavetes. This movie is a lot of fun. This is like during the time when you had like those fun World War II movies, which almost seems like a offensive thing to say that like there's a fun World War II movie out there. But I mean, if there was ever to be one, that's one of them. Empire of the Sun. There's another one I watched in high school. This movie blew me away. I couldn't believe too that like, because I didn't see this movie when I was in 10th grade, so it was 2005. So I saw this the same year that Batman Begins came out and saw that in theater. So I was watching young Christian Bale in this, and then adult Christian Bale in Batman Begins, and it was incredible just to see like how much he's grown as an actor. He's one of my favorite actors of all time. Like every performance he puts in any, even if it's a garbage movie, like that man does not phone it in. He goes balls to the walls every time. And we thank you for it, Christian. Enemy at the Gates. It's another movie I saw in film school. This movie is a pretty solid World War II movie. It's about snipers, and it is pretty awesome. Great cast in it, a lot of fun. It is a very dark movie at sometimes, but I liked it a lot. Really good performances. That's due for a rewatch also, because I probably haven't seen that since I was in film school. A war movie that I watched during quarantine that I actually ended up liking a lot more than I thought it was. I always, for the longest time, couldn't bring myself to watch it because Seinfeld had made fun of it, and for the longest time, I would always just think of that episode and just couldn't bring myself to watch it. But that's The English Patient. I am not like Elaine Bennis. I love this movie. This movie was really good. It was a very good mixture of action and romance and World War II drama. I love this movie so much more than I thought I was going to. It was so great, and I definitely want to get to this one again. Juliette Binoche and Kristen Scott Thomas, gorgeous, great actors. They're just so good in that movie. A young Tom Hanks movie that my phone's going off. Oopsies, muted. A young Tom Hanks movie that I've yet to see, but I bought because I want to own every Tom Hanks movie. This man is the greatest actor ever lived, and that is Every Time We Say Goodbye. Looks like a World War II movie, a fighter jet World War II movie. So I'm definitely going to get around to that at some point because it's my boy Tom Hanks. We've got the movie Exodus with Paul Newman. This is another movie that I've really wanted to watch for a while now. It looks like a really good war movie, but it's 3 hours and 28 minutes. So you really got to build yourself up for these ones, and I just haven't been able to build myself up yet to watch that one. But we'll get there. Clint Eastwood drops by for his first war movie, and that is Flags of Our Fathers. This is a really good war movie. Definitely should check out. It's got like a solid cast in it. There is a better Clint Eastwood directed war movie that we're going to get to later, but Flags of Our Fathers is definitely still a good one. This one I didn't really think would be a war movie, so I had to consult the IMDb gods, but they in fact told me it was. And that's Flight of the Intruder. This is a movie I just found at like a record store that was like $1, so I had to get it. And it is a Vietnam War movie. Haven't watched it yet, but we'll get to it. I could always go for a Danny Glover movie. Freaking terrible war movie. It's Flyboys. I remember me and my friend watched this. The same friend that loves Black Hawk Down. And we watched this movie and we died laughing the entire time because it was just so over the top terrible. James Franco vehicle too. That movie just fucking stupid. We've got The Four Feathers. Young Heath Ledger in there. Wes Bentley, Kate Hudson. I've yet to watch this. Picked it up for 99 cents. Definitely going to get around to it because it looks like a decent little war movie. And I do love me some Heath Ledger. And we're never going to get any new performances by him. So might as well look back to the old ones. Watch as much as we can. One of my favorite war movies. I used to watch this with my grandma all the time when I was younger. It's From Here to Eternity. Is a really good World War II movie about Pearl Harbor. Got a great cast with Burt Lancaster, Montgomery Clift, Frank Sinatra. This movie, iconic scene right there that will live the test of time. Love that movie. So glad that my grandma would watch all these old movies that I would always get to sit in and watch. So I have this great appreciation for the old cinema. So super grateful for that. Stanley Kubrick's Full Metal Jacket. I like this movie. It's all right. I definitely don't think it's as great as everybody says it is. All the stuff, training in the boot camp is great, but it's mostly all just due to R. Lee Emery and how fucking batshit crazy he is in that movie. And honestly, that's really all I remember. But I couldn't tell you the second half of that movie at all, other than the fact that I've seen it. So maybe a rewatch? Maybe. One of my favorite Civil War movies. We watched this in history class, and I was fucking blown away. And that's Gettysburg. This movie is out of control. This was the perfect movie to watch in high school because you would watch it over like a few days, so it was much easier to digest because this movie is a whopping 254 minutes, which I think is like 4.5 hours if you were to like add that all up. That is a fucking long ass movie to sit through in one sitting, but still worth it because that movie's freaking incredible. G.I. Jane, Demi Moore. This is a solid military movie about her getting into the Navy SEALs. It's fun. It's all right. Probably one of my favorite movies that we watched in our 20th century literature through film class, and that is Glory. This was a movie I was freaking sobbing by the end of it. It is just so freaking good. Denzel deservedly wins here. Morgan Freeman's great. The only thing that really brings it down for me, it's slight, is Matthew Broderick. I'm just not a fan of that guy. Not a fan of that murderer, even if it was vehicular manslaughter. Not a fan. The other Gettysburg, Gods and Generals. This one's alright. It's not as good as the other one. Still fucking whopping 219 minutes though. Didn't see this one. We didn't watch this one in high school, which is probably good because this one has nothing on Gettysburg. But I have seen it, and it is it's still like a lot of fun. It's really good if you want to like really dig in and learn Civil War history. But it's a movie that I'll never fucking watch again. Whereas Gettysburg, I could probably watch again if somebody was like, yo, let's watch Gettysburg. I'm like, fuck yeah. Classic film history here. It's getting a little shoved under the rug right now, but I mean, you should still be able to look at these movies for their place in time and what they did for film history at that time. That's Gone with the Wind. Obviously, it's not as aged as well in some themes, but I mean, the movie was made in what, like the 30s? So it's like, come on, it was the fucking 30s. Like, if they had made this movie today exactly like that, like, sure, then you got beef. But it was made in the 30s. Like, just shut the fuck up and watch it and be like, yeah, shit like that's not cool anymore. Teach. Don't wipe away. This movie's also really fucking long. 233 minutes. These war movies, man. War movies are just fucking long as shit. I have seen Gone with the Wind, thanks to my grandma. And I really like it. I think it's really good. I don't know how many more times I'll probably watch it in my life. It's not one of those movies that like you got to continuously revisit, but I'm glad I got to watch it for its status in film history and just as a good Civil War movie, right? Civil War? Yeah. The Good German. It's a World War II movie, like a film noir World War II movie. I was super excited for this movie because, it's going to be black and white. It's got Toby, George, Kate Blanchett, and then it turned out to be pretty just okay, kind of mediocre. Obviously, they were hoping for this to be like that generation's Casablanca, but they missed the mark. But I only watched that once, so maybe it's time for a rewatch. Maybe it's gotten better with age. I don't know. We'll see if I get around back to it. We've got Good Morning Vietnam. Robin Williams, incredible. What else is there to say? This movie, so good. Put Robin Williams on the map. If you haven't seen Goodwill, I was about to say Good Will Hunting. If you haven't seen Good Morning Vietnam by now, what are you doing? Do you even watch and enjoy movies? For shame. Get out. Watch it. Go do it right now. I don't care how late it is. A movie that we almost could have saw Leo as in the lead is The Great Escape. That's a good Once Upon a Time in Hollywood joke for any of you Once Upon a Time in Hollywood fans. This is a freaking incredible movie. I loved this one. Steve McQueen is so badass in this movie. The motorcycle stunt that he does in it is fucking phenomenal. And just like I know like it's tense, but like it's also like fun. Like it's a very good, like old school movies like this were so good at having like deep themes and like dark subject matter, but still having that fun, adventurous style that you want out of a movie. Like it was still adventurous. And I feel like we've lost that in a lot of movies these days, where like they have to be too serious and too like just like real life. We don't need it. Oh, I'm gonna just pick up the rest of these. We're gonna pile through them all. We got The Great Raid. I remember nothing about this movie other than I've seen it, so it's probably time for a rewatch. It's a World War II movie. I remember when I saw it in high school, I liked it. I read the book right after, so I must have liked it. We've got The Green Zone, Matt Damon. It is, I guess, a Middle East war movie, I would imagine, because it's somewhat newer and it's Paul Greengrass. I did not like this movie. This movie was where I really started to turn on Paul Greengrass, where I was like, you gotta fucking cut it out with that shaky cam shit, man. I hate shaky cam more than anything. The Guns of Navarone. Haven't seen this yet, but I picked it up for like $1 because it looked awesome. It's got Gregory Peck, good old school World War II movie. So definitely want to watch this. I probably might wait now to watch it because they just announced the 4K, so I might wait and just pick up the 4K and watch it. But I might watch it beforehand just so that you can see like how that transfer looks. Who knows? We'll see what happens. We'll see if there's time. My God, my phone is fucking blowing up. It's always when I'm doing shit that people want to talk to me. No one ever wants to talk to me when I'm doing nothing. Harrison Ford, Hanover Street. Haven't seen it. Looks pretty solid though. Definitely gonna watch it because I mean it's fucking Harrison Ford. Why wouldn't you watch it? Clint Eastwood rocking back up again. Heartbreak Ridge. I haven't seen this one either, but you know, had to pick it up because we needed to own all the Clint Eastwood movies, and I'll get to it. The third, the not known Vietnam movie from Oliver Stone, Heaven and Earth. I didn't even know this movie existed until I found this copy of it. But nowhere near hit the heights of Platoon or Born on the 4th of July because I've never even fucking heard of this. But it's got Tommy Lee Jones in it. I haven't watched it. Definitely going to get around to it at some point, though, because I do love me some Tommy Lee Jones. Another great movie we watched in high school when it came out, Hotel Rwanda. It was a really good Don Cheadle movie. Nick Nolte, I think fucking Joaquin, yeah, there he is right there. Joaquin Phoenix is the cameraman in this. This is a really good movie about the genocide somewhere in Africa. I don't remember the fucking place. It's been so long. I'm gonna have to rewatch this movie because obviously since I can't think of shit from it, it means that it's time for a rewatch. Best Director winner, The Hurt Locker. I think this won Best Movie also that year. This is a really fucking awesome movie about Jeremy Renner and how he dismantles and takes care of landmines. A young Anthony Mackie in there too. Look at that. Who would have figured? It's amazing how many just like Marvel people you find in like any movie if you look back now and go far enough back. It's like the same thing if you watch a movie with British people in. You just play the game of how long until there's a Harry Potter actor in it. Now, for Americans, it's like how long until we see an MCU actor, and you got two of them right there. This is a really good movie, though. It is fucking tense as shit, and I love it. My favorite Quentin Tarantino movie, hits next, is Inglorious Bastards. This is, Quentin Tarantino knows better than anybody how to take that old school sensibility of we're going to take dark and heavy themes, but we still know how to make this an adventurous and fun movie. And this is quintessential Quentin right there. He is just so fucking good. The hits just keep on coming with Jarhead. This is a really awesome Jake Gyllenhaal movie. Peter Sarsgaard, Chris Cooper, Jamie Foxx. I saw this movie when it came out in theaters, and it was fucking incredible. Loved it. I don't have much to say about it other than it was really good. K19 the Widow Maker. This movie gets shit on a lot. I don't think it's terrible. It's entertaining. Harrison Ford, definitely terrible Russian accent. Liam Neeson a little better, not much better. But I mean, this movie, it's entertaining. I didn't hate it, didn't love it. Somewhere in the middle. Kelly's Heroes. This movie reminds me a lot of like The Dirty Dozen, where it's just like a fun World War II movie. It's about a platoon of guys that set out behind enemy lines to go find Nazi gold. And it is wild. It is a really good movie. Definitely should check that one out. I had a lot of fun watching that one. The Killing Fields. I haven't seen this. I think this is about some civil war in Thailand or some shit like that. But it's got John Malkovich, Craig T. Nelson. Apparently it's really good. I definitely want to get around to it. That's one I've had in the collection for a long time. I've just never watched yet. So definitely want to get around to it. There's another one. IMDb said it's a war movie, so we're going with it. I mean, there's definitely war in it. I would have put it in like fantasy or Sword and Sandal, but Sword and Sandal, I guess, kind of mixes in with war, so we'll rock with it. And that's King Arthur, the director's cut. I remember when I saw this when it came out in theaters. I was like, it was okay. I just watched it recently, like about a few months ago, and I actually liked it a lot more than I originally liked it. It was definitely held up a lot better. There's a lot of like people in this movie that would go on to do huge things. Like obviously we knew Keira Knightley, Clive Owen, Ian Grufford, but like Joel Edgerton is in this. Mads Mikkelsen is in it. Stellan Skarsgård, Stephen Delane, who would go into Game of Thrones, Way Winston, Till Schweiger. There's so many people in this movie that would go on to do huge things. So that's a cool movie to go back and watch just to see all those guys in like young actor mode. Oh, one of my favorite movies, but only the director's cut. I will not stand for any original cut that the studios met with, and that's Kingdom of Heaven. The director's cut of this movie is absolutely incredible. I fucking love it. It's so good. I think it's just over 3 hours. If we look, yeah, it's 194 minutes, but it is just phenomenal. This movie is amazing. One of my favorite Orlando Bloom movies. It's so good. Get out, go watch that movie if you haven't seen it. And if you've only seen the original cut, watch the director's cut. You can thank me later. Last of the Mohicans. This is fucking phenomenal. The music in this movie is phenomenal. Daniel Day-Lewis in this movie is phenomenal. It's just a fucking, this movie's so good. I watched this as per the usual with a lot of these movies, is in high school. And I was like, that one was great. I like that one. Give me more of that. I always like it when you get those movies like that, where it's a war that you don't like, because obviously the most of the war movies are World War II movies. But I like when you can get movies from other wars that aren't nearly as popular. Like, there's not that many French-Indian War movies. So, like, to get one like that and have it be, like, that fucking amazing is an awesome thing. Just gotta pick the rest of those up. Make it easier. Lawrence of Arabia. This movie was really awesome when I watched it. I like that this movie had an overture and an intermission and everything. It really gave it this, like, grandeur to it. That was really awesome. This was a great fucking movie. This one's really long also, but I watched this one in quarantine, and I fucking loved it. Yeah, 227 minutes. So this was one that I actually built myself up to be able to watch, and it was worth it. It was really good. I liked it a lot. IMDb says it's a war movie, so we went with it. Lincoln. It definitely takes place during the American Civil War, but there's not really much war in it. It's more like a quiet meditation of just watching how awesome Daniel Day-Lewis is at acting. But we'll go with it. It's cool. I like this movie. I'll never watch it again. It's one of those ones where it's like, Daniel Day-Lewis is fucking incredible. Everyone in the movie is so good, but it's a movie that has absolutely no tension in it because you know the outcome. And normally when you watch a movie where you know, like, the outcome, it's not such a bad thing, but I feel like just in this one, there wasn't enough that built tension elsewhere. I'm going all over the place. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. Tension just didn't hold for me in that movie as it could for other ones. I still really liked it. I'll never watch it again. Another one IMDb says was a war movie, Lions for Lambs. This one is pretty shitty. It's okay. I think the best thing going for it, I think that's only like 100 minutes, so at least it's nice and short, so that was good. A movie that I really liked, Lust Caution. This is set against the backdrop of China as the country is transforming itself. IMDb says it's a war movie, so we went with it. This is really good. Ang Lee directed. This is a fucking dope-ass movie. You should watch it if you haven't seen it, because it's really good. A classic. I used to watch the show with my grandma all the time. MASH. MASH. It's so much fun. It's a great old 70s World War II movie. A lot of good people in it. Donald Sutherland, all those guys. Alan Arkin. It's just an awesome movie. You should check it out. Master and Commander, The Far Side of the War. This is fucking... I haven't seen this movie in a long time since it first came out, so I definitely need to rewatch this again. I love Russell Crowe, and it's set during the Napoleonic Wars, so that's another great plus for it, because it's like, how many movies you get set during the Napoleonic Wars, so that's a fun one. I'm going to have to check that one out again soon. I gotta see... I wonder if there's got to be like a 4K upgrade for that movie, like there has to be. And if there is, I'm getting it. The Men Who Stare at Goats, a World War II movie where they're doing experiments on people to try and change the way wars are fought with psychic powers. It's a pretty dumb fucking movie. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it that much. I'll probably never watch it again, but it was alright. It's got a good enough cast in it that it helped make the movie at least watchable. Another movie that we watched in high school, Michael Collins. This is a really good Irish independence movie. Liam Neeson, Julia Roberts, Alan Rickman, everyone in this movie is just bringing their A game. This was really freaking good. I haven't seen this probably since we watched it in high school, so I'm going to have to watch that one again because it's a great movie. Back when Liam Neeson could be relied on to do actual good movies and not just these insane, silly action movies like The Ice Road. We're coming along. 2 piles left. I feel like we're cruising. Very. One half of this movie is really good. It's Pearl Harbor. Everything leading up to the attack on Pearl Harbor is like a really good movie. Everything after it is kind of just like schlocky romance. I don't hate it as necessarily as much as other people do. I still think it's pretty decent. But it definitely takes a nosedive after that. But I do have to watch it again because I haven't seen it in a long time. I've got a love-hate relationship with this movie. I love the movie. It's fucking incredible. But I hate the director. And I think he's a scum of a human being. And it's just one of those things where it's like you should be able to separate the person to at least enjoy the movie. Because obviously there's so much more that goes into a movie than just one person. But I really hate this person. And I wish this person would be dead. I know that's a heavy thing, but it's the pianist. And the person that I wish was fucking dead is Roman Polanski. That guy is a fucking scum of the earth. And that dude should absolutely burn in hell. The fact that they still let this man do movies after what he did and like he still gets like awards and everything blows my mind. This dude, for people who don't know, like pretty much raped and assaulted an underage girl, admitted to it, was due to go to jail, and he fled the country to France where he wouldn't be extradited. And he has spent the rest of his life there making movies. Not only making movies, he made this movie in the year, I believe it was 2000, 2001, which means that he had done it, that had been 20 years. And what did Hollywood do? They gave him the Best Director award. A man who was a known pedophile, a known raper. They gave him the Best Director award. Shit like that, Hollywood. It's shit like that. But if you take him out, if you separate all that and just look at the movie and the subject matter of the movie, it is a really good fucking movie. I can't deny that. I do really enjoy that movie. Freaking Oliver Stone, Platoon. This movie, fucking an incredible Vietnam War movie. Charlie Sheen, Tom Berenger, Willem Dafoe. Ooh, I got a burp there. Young Johnny Depp in there. That's a really good movie. Just check out Platoon. I mean, I'm sure everybody's checked out Platoon at this point. Private Benjamin, Goldie Hawn. This is a fun little military movie. Kind of reminds me of like G.I. Jane in a sense, where like it's following like a woman making it through boot camp and everything. This one's a bit more of a comedy than G.I. Jane is, but still, it's a fun movie. The Quiet American. I haven't seen it yet. IMDb says it's a war movie. It's set during 1950s Vietnam, so I guess there's probably some war in there. It's got Brendan Fraser and Michael Caine, so I mean, how could I not have gotten it and get a chance to watch it at some point? Rescue Dawn, Christian Bale, Steve Zahn. Probably one of Steve Zahn's like most dramatic performances. This is a really good movie about POWs. Christian Bale, fucking incredible in it. The shit this man puts his body through to do movies is absolutely astounding to me. It is insane. A movie that is actually much better than I thought it would be when I picked it up to watch it, and that's Ride with the Devil. This is an American Civil War movie directed by Ang Lee, surprisingly, with Tobey Maguire, Skeet Ulrich. I'll never be able to take that name seriously. Jewel and Jeffrey Wright, young Jeffrey Wright in there. This movie was surprisingly really good. It was a solid Civil War movie. So I was happy I picked that one up and gave that one a chance. Rules of Engagement, Tommy Lee Jones, Samuel L. Jackson. It's a solid little war movie about, you guessed it, the rules of engagement. And Samuel L. Jackson being put on trial for what they think is a breach of the rules of engagement. It's a solid, tense little thriller. I like that movie a lot. My favorite war movie of all time hits now. Watched it in high school. Immediately afterwards, had to go home and watch it on a big screen because that tiny screen in homeroom just couldn't do it justice. I sob every time at the end of this movie, and that is Saving Private Ryan. This movie is, I mean, what's there to say that hasn't been said about this movie? From the opening scene all the way to the final Tom Hanks looking Matt Damon in the eye and telling him, earn this. The movie is just absolutely stellar and incredible, and I fucking love it, and I watch it all the time, and I'll continue to watch it all the time, because it is fucking incredible. Spartacus. This movie's fucking incredible. Also, you want to talk about a great war movie? I guess this is like the Gladiator before there was Gladiator. Although they say on IMDb that this is a war movie, but that Gladiator is not a war movie, which is interesting because I didn't put Gladiator in this pile because they said it wasn't a war movie. But I feel like this is kind of like a Gladiator before there was Gladiator. So I mean, just to say, who knows? But this movie is fucking incredible. So good. I really want a 4K upgrade of this movie so I could watch it again because it was just so freaking good. Watch that movie if you haven't seen that movie. I never watched any of the TV shows. I'm not a big TV show person. I mostly tend to stick to movies. But let me know if the TV shows are worth watching. My man Billy Wilder shows up. Stalag 17. It's another good movie about POWs. I really like this movie. Anything Billy Wilder touches is fucking incredible. He's probably my favorite old school writer-director from back in that era. He just knocked it out of the park every fucking time. He was the man. Stop Loss. Never watched it. Looked like a good movie about people coming home from war and being changed by it and seeing how they go from there. It's got a solid cast, so I might check it out at some point. Oy! Stripes is a great comedy, very funny comedy about Bill Murray in boot camp. What more do you need to know? Watch that. Oy! Tears of the Sun with Bruce Willis. This movie's alright. It's about like SEALs doing something during some war. I don't even know what fucking war it is, and it doesn't tell us on the back. But directed by Antoine Fuqua. It's a solid movie. It's not terrible, but it's not like when you're looking at like the list of all these war movies we've been pulling out, that one's definitely towards the bottom. Let's pull the rest of these ones up. We got The Thin Red Line. I actually have never watched this movie. Terrence Malick is a very hit or miss director for me, and of the movies I have seen, I fucking hated him, so that gives me pause about this movie. But I also hear that this is like one of his better ones and probably more of the mainstream one to see. And it's got like the most insane cast ever. So I'm definitely going to get around to it at some point whenever I built myself back up to want to withstand a Terrence Malick movie again. Three Kings. This is a solid movie. David O. Russell seems like an absolute douchebag of a person. And it's got a solid cast in it. And it kind of like Kelly's Heroes, where like they're in Iraq and they're searching for like money, stolen money from somewhere. So they just swapped out Nazi gold for Iraqi, whatever their money is called. Tora Tora Tora, The Attack of Pearl Harbor. I haven't seen this movie, but I definitely want to give it a shot because it looks really good. And apparently I think it won Academy Awards for something, or it was nominated. Apparently this is like really good, and it tells it from like both sides, so you get like a huge like understanding of it. So I definitely want to check that one out. The Tuskegee Airmen. Haven't watched this movie either, but I definitely want to give it a shot. Picked it up because you got Lawrence Fishburne, you got Courtney B. Vance, freaking whatever, Cuba Gooding Jr. in there. Solid cast, so I had to pick that up. I think it was only like $1. Definitely gonna watch that one at some point. U-571. Great fucking submarine movie. Great cast in there. You got McConaughey, Paxton, Keitel, fucking John Bon Jovi, man. Everyone's showing up for U-571. This is a good movie. Rest in peace, Bill, baby. You're the dream. You're the king, Bill. One of the few Steven Spielberg movies I still have to watch, and that's War Horse. Just never gotten around to it. I hear mixed reviews from people. But I mean, I'm sure it's at least like watchable and decent because it's Steven Spielberg, so like of course it's got to be. I just haven't had the moment or opportunity to want to watch it. One of my favorite World War II movies, a very suspenseful one, is Where Eagles Dare with Clint Eastwood. This is a fucking great movie about them sneaking into like a Nazi stronghold. It is such a good freaking thriller. I love that movie. That was like one of my favorite Clint Eastwood pickups that I found to watch. Wind Talkers with Nicolas Cage. Haven't seen it. John Woo directed, so I'm sure it's got some really good action in it. Just haven't gotten around to it yet. And finally in the DVD pile is Zero Dark 30. I loved this movie. This is a really good movie about terrorism and the lengths of which we will go for it, and at what point is us torturing people counterintuitive to the mission. And of course, finding Osama bin Laden and killing his ass dead. This is a really great freaking movie. I loved it. And that's the DVDs. Now on to our last pile, which is our Blu-rays, 4Ks, and Steelbooks. First up is the Middle East. I don't even know what they call the Middle East War. Like, is it just the Middle East War? There's never been like any cool name given to it. Not that any name for a war should be cool, but you know what I mean. And that's 12 Strong with Chris Hemsworth. This is a solid movie. It's not terrible. Wasn't the worst, wasn't the best. I enjoyed it for what it was. Another movie very much like that I didn't hate, didn't love, enjoyed it for what it was. It was 13 Hours, The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi. It was a solid war movie. I think the best part about it is John Krasinski and seeing like, yeah, man, like, forget The Office, man. Let's see him do some fucking action shit. And he's really come a long way since The Office, so it's been awesome to watch that. We've got Allied, which is a really good, solid World War II spy thriller, where these two have gotten married, and now Brad Pitt finds out that he thinks that his wife is a spy for the other side, and he has to figure it out before his government decides to do some shit. It was solid. American Sniper. This movie's alright. Wasn't the biggest fan of it. It was a little boring at times. Clint Eastwood directed, so it's at least watchable, because, Clint Eastwood's the man. But yeah, it's fine. I didn't hate it. It got some like really good hype though. That movie made a shit ton at the box office. One of the newest war movies that came out right back in March is The Courier. It was a spy thriller set during the I think it was the Cuban Missile Crisis or like the Cold War. Some shit around there. Yeah, confrontation to end the Cuban Missile Crisis. Right on the money. You'd think I would remember it considering I just watched it a few months ago in theaters, but you would be mistaken. Darkest Hour, about Winston Churchill during World War II. For some reason, I still have yet to get this. I wanted to watch it, and it just keeps falling by the wayside. But I'm going to get there, because I love me some Gary Oldman, and that man is probably one of the greatest fucking character actors we've ever had in the history of time. Dunkirk, if anyone's watched my Christopher Nolan video, they'll know my feelings on Dunkirk. Not the biggest fan of this movie. I think it's shot well. I think the acting's really good in it. I just really don't like the way it's structured. Fury. This is another really good World War II movie about some tank operators. Brad Pitt, everyone in this. Really great cast in this movie, too. I think David Ayer directed. Yeah, written and directed by David Ayer, who's usually pretty hit or miss, but he's this one hit for me. I was a big fan of this movie. Shia LaBeouf doing some crazy Shia LaBeouf shit. Can always go for that. A really good World War II movie, Hacksaw Ridge. Probably my favorite Andrew Garfield movie so far. He gives a fucking amazing performance in this movie. Even Vin Diesel. Vince Vaughn, not Vin Diesel, is surprisingly really good in this movie too, as the drill sergeant. And then there's other people. Sam Worthington shows up in there at some point. But it is a really good war movie. I liked it a lot, even if it is made by that raving lunatic Mel Gibson. The dude knows story structure. Heart's War, Bruce Willis, Colin Farrell. Haven't watched it. Looks pretty terrible. So not in any race to get to that one. The Imitation Game. This is a movie I will be getting to shortly, as it is in my A to Z challenge of movies I haven't seen. So I'm definitely looking forward to watching this. Great cast. Looks like a good story. Super excited to watch that one. We talked before about Flags of Our Fathers and how I said there was a better Clint Eastwood directed war movie out there, and it shows up here, Letters from Iwo Jima. This movie is really freaking good about the other side during World War II, following the Japanese in their skirmishes and battles. Ken Watanabe, especially in this movie, fucking phenomenal. I love that man. I wish we saw him in more things these days, because he is an absolute fucking treasure. Lone Survivor. This is a good action movie. It's one of the better Mark Wahlberg movies. When he's with the right director, he's not terrible. And I guess Peter Berg is like like how you would see Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio, I guess, is your Peter Berg, Mark Wahlberg duo, where he's actually not terrible. And the supporting cast is good too. Taylor Kitsch, Ben Foster, Emile Hirsch. This is solid war movie. Megan Levy picked it up for $2.99. Have yet to watch it. I'll get around to it at some point. Looks like a good dog movie. I am always in the mood for a good dog movie. Another one of the newer ones that dropped, Midway, Stacked Cast. I'm always a fan of Roland Emmerich movies because even though they're not good critically, they are very entertaining. This one of my lesser favorites of his, but it was still decent. It had some decent scenes in it. I didn't hate it, didn't love it. It's just kind of there. Miracle at St. Anna, Spike Lee directed. I've yet to see this movie, but I definitely want to get around to it because if it's anywhere near as good as Da Five Bloods, then I am in for a treat. Also, somebody released Da Five Bloods on physical media because I would love to own that movie. Especially since it's one of our last Chadwick Boseman performances. Like, just put that out on physical media for me. The Monuments Men. Picked it up because it was only $3.99. I've yet to see this yet. There have been mixed reviews since it's come out, but it's got a decent enough cast that I can imagine that it's probably at least watchable. So I'll get around to it. One of my favorite war movies, although I don't even know if you can call this a war movie, but they did. So we'll just say it. Munich. It's not really set during a war, but whatever. We'll go with it. Munich's great. Yeah, war movie or not, Munich's a great movie. You should watch it. The Patriot. We talked about Roland Emmerich making those goddamn entertaining movies. This is a goddamn entertaining movie. Historical inaccuracies be damned. I don't give a shit. If you want the real deal, watch a documentary. This movie is entertaining as fuck. When he hunts down and kills the people that killed his family with the fucking 2 hatchets, I'm like, this movie is a trip. This is great. Another Heath Ledger performance in there. You got Mel Gibson training guerrilla warfare during the American Revolutionary War. This movie is hilarious. Written by the same guy who wrote Saving Private Ryan, funnily enough. So that just makes that movie even more entertaining for me. Sum of All Fears. Pretty sure it's a Jack Ryan movie. Yeah. Haven't seen it. Heard it's all right. Ben Affleck is Jack Ryan, so get around to that at some point. One of my favorite war movies goes hand in hand with Sword and Sandal, but it's all about the Peloponnesian War and the Trojan War. So we'll go with it, and that's Troy. But only the director's cut. This is very much like Kingdom of Heaven, that if it's the original cut, I'm not about it. But the director's cut, I'm all about. I fucking love that movie. This movie, I don't know how people shit on this movie all the time. It's got great fucking action scenes. The dialogue in it has so much great dialogue in it. It's too early in the morning for killing princes. You sack of wine. There's just great line after great line of dialogue in this movie. It is, and Eric Bana and Brad Pitt's fight scene in it is so good. Orlando Bloom plays such a good pussy in that movie. It's phenomenal. Watch the director's cut. If you didn't like it the first time you saw it, give the director's cut a try. See if it maybe rekindles some love in there for you. Unbroken. This is a solid movie. I read the book beforehand, so I guess that maybe kind of ruined the movie a little bit for me because I didn't think the movie was as good. But it's solid. I didn't love it, didn't hate it. It's a movie I saw. We Were Soldiers. Another Mel Gibson one. I think written and directed by Randall Wallace, who did, I think he wrote Pearl Harbor, if I'm not mistaken. But this is a lot better than Pearl Harbor. This is a really good war movie. Probably one of Mel Gibson's last really good acting performances in this. I believe this is a Vietnam movie. It's a really good fucking movie. You should check that out. Now we're into our 4Ks. A fucking war movie that I have very mixed things about. I like it. It's entertaining, but I don't love it. It's 300. I'm just not a big fan of Zack Snyder's style. It's just not my cup of tea. The dialogue in this movie is very entertaining, though, and Gerard Butler, probably his best performance in there. Young Michael Fassbender in here, too. I think that was the best part about rewatching this movie, was seeing young Michael Fassbender in there, because that was, like, really funny. It's all right. I don't watch that movie too often because I'm not a Zack Snyder fanboy, but it's not terrible. Braveheart. Mel Gibson, phenomenal movie. I love this freaking movie. We watched this in high school, and it was another one. Came home, it was like, somebody get the big TV, baby, because we're watching a good one tonight. And it's great. Looks great. Acts great. Is great. Watch it. Overlord. I missed this movie when it came out in theaters, but I remember when the trailer came out, I was super excited for it, and then I just never got to see it. But I just picked it up in 4K. I watched it probably back in like November, and it was freaking incredible. I was very surprised by how good this movie is. Even just the first half of it, where it's just kind of like a straight World War II movie, is really tense. Like, they keep the tension in this movie very high throughout, and I'm here for it. It was really fucking good. And we're down to our last two now. Steelbooks, babies. 1917. It's a fucking phenomenal World War I movie. Shot all in one take. Obviously uses some trickery here and there, but for the most part, it is one continuous shot. And it is incredible. This movie looks so beautiful. It is fucking incredible. Looks amazing on 4K also. This was the first movie I watched when I got my 4K player to go with the TV to watch. And it was a great choice because some of those scenes really fucking pop. And then last but not least, probably the most important war movie ever made, and that is Schindler's List. We watched this movie in high school, and I sobbed. It was, this is such a powerful movie. It's one of those movies that it's like, it's so important to watch, but it's not one you can watch often because it is just very dark. It's tough to find any joy in a movie like that. It's a really tough movie to watch, but it's one everyone should see because it's that fucking important. And it's made incredibly. Steven Spielberg is an absolute master at his craft, and I fucking love that movie. That's another one, even though like it was really heavy, I was still like, I need to watch this on a bigger screen just so like I could really feel like the power on me. That's my collection. Shitload of movies. I know I said in the last video I'll count them all and put them in the title. I didn't do that because I didn't want to fucking waste time counting them. And I'm not going to do it with this one. If you followed along and you counted, good for you. If not, it's a lot of movies. Just looking at it, it was a lot. That's all we need to know. War movies, great fucking genre. I love war movies. One of my best things that high school ever did for me was taking that class and getting to see so many war movies and really letting me dive deep into film history and war movies as a genre. So thank you to Mr. Jones's high school film class. It rocked. I don't know what genre I'll do next. Probably science fiction. Science fiction next to westerns is my favorite genre. So I'll probably rock into westerns. And then maybe we'll see rock into sci-fi, and then we'll see where I want to go from there. I may do a video where I just do the entire collection, but I'll do it in pieces because like I like watching other people's ones, but like some of them are so long, or like 6 5-hour videos, and I'm not trying to make like a 5-hour video here. So I'll probably do it in like sections. Maybe I'll do like a letter or two, a video, and we'll see how it goes. But that'll do it for me tonight. So until next time, rock on, go catch a movie. Let me know what war movies you like, what are your favorites. Hit them down below. You probably won't because I haven't seen a comment in months. But who cares? I just do this because it's fucking fun and it passes the time because I just like doing shit like this. So until next time, adventure on.